Good morning, class 9 students. Today, let's study Geography chapter 3, Drainage. So, what is drainage? Drainage means a river system of an area. The term drainage describes the river system of an area. What is the river system? A river along with its tributaries may be called a river system. A river along with its tributaries may be called a river system. Look at this picture. Small streams are flowing from different directions, come together to form the main river. It ultimately drains into a large water body such as lake, sea, or ocean. That is called drainage. Small streams are flowing from different directions which come together to form the main river, and ultimately they drain into a large water body such as a lake, ocean, or sea. That is called drainage. So, in this picture you can clearly understand, by seeing this picture you can clearly understand what is drainage. That means a river system of an area. A single river along with its tributaries are called as drainage. A single river along with its tributaries may be called a river system or drainage. Now let us see what is drainage basin. An area drained by a river and its tributaries can be called as drainage basin. So here you can see an area drained, all this area, all this area. An area drained by a single river along with its tributaries can be called drainage basin. And now let's see water divide. Look at this picture. In this picture, you can see two river systems separated by an upland. Two drainage basins or river systems are separated by an upland. So, such kind of any upland, that may be a mountain or that may be a hill, whatever may be, if any upland is separating two drainage basins, that upland is called water divide. So from this picture you can clearly understand what is a water divide. So any mountain or upland which separates two drainage basins or river systems, we can say that upland is called water divide. From this picture you can clearly understand that. Now let us study drainage system in India. Drainage system. In India there are two groups of rivers. All the Indian rivers can be categorized as Himalayan rivers and the peninsular rivers. The Himalayan rivers and the peninsular rivers. These are the two major groups of Indian rivers. And first let us study the differences between Himalayan rivers and the peninsular rivers. Let us study something about Himalayan rivers. First of all, Himalayan rivers are perennial rivers. Throughout the year, there will be water in Himalayan rivers. By melting ice and snow, also there will be water in Himalayan rivers. And of course, because of the availability of rainfall also, there will be water in Himalayan rivers. That's why they are called perennial rivers. Continuously, water will be here. That means in a year, in this rivers. Second one, long and deep courses. Himalayan rivers are very long from their origin to their destination. They are very long and they are very deep courses. Very long and deep. And they perform intensive erosional activity. That means in their upper slopes, Since these rivers are originating from the mountain tops, mountain peaks, in the upper slopes, that is just like here, suppose when these rivers are originating from here, since this area is very steep slopes, when the rivers are flowing through the steep slopes, the velocity of the river is very high. The speed of the water is very high. And because of the high speed, they are eroding, they are causing for erosion. Soil may be getting eroded, woods, metal pieces, many materials may come along with the water, force of the water. That is called intensive erosional activity in their upper courses. This is called upper courses. This area is called upper courses. So they perform intensive erosional activity in their upper courses. And in the middle courses, in the middle area, that means when the river is flowing through plain area, the velocity of the river will reduce, and because of that, in the middle course area, they form meanders and oxbow lakes. Here you can see the image of meander and the image of oxbow lakes also you can see here. So in the middle course area, Himalayan rivers form meanders and oxbow lakes. And at the mouth of the Himalayan rivers, they form deltas. The image of a delta also you can see here. Now let us study the features of peninsular rivers. They are seasonal. That means when there is a rainfall, only there will be water in these rivers, peninsular rivers. Peninsular rivers are seasonal, Himalayan rivers are perennial, because throughout the year there will be water in Himalayan rivers, but in the peninsular rivers, only during rainy season there will be water. And they have shorter and narrower courses. While comparing with the Himalayan rivers, these peninsular rivers have shorter and narrower courses. But Himalayan rivers have long and deep courses. Here, peninsular rivers have shorter and narrower courses. And most of the peninsular rivers originate in the Western Ghats and flow towards the Bay of Bengal. But two rivers, Narmada and Tapi, these two are originating in the Central Highlands and flow toward the west. These two rivers are only originating in the Central Highlands and flow towards the west. All other rivers are originating in the Western Ghats and flow towards the Bay of Bengal. These are the features of peninsular rivers. Let us study about major Himalayan rivers. Indus, Ganga and Brahmaputra. These are the three main river systems we are going to study as Himalayan rivers. First of all, let us see the Indus river system. River Indus rises in Tibet near Lake Mansarovar. In your textbook, next page you can see one map and locate Lake Mansarovar. And after originating, this river is flowing west and it enters India in the Ladakh region of Jammu and Kashmir. And in the Kashmir region, it has 4 tributaries. These 4 tributaries are the Saskar, the Nubra, the Shyok and the Hunza. These are the 4 tributaries of River Indus in the Kashmir region. And this river has some other major tributaries. These are the Jhelum, the Chenab, the Beas, the Satluj and the Ravi. These are the 5 major tributaries of this river. And this river is 2900 km long and it is one of the longest rivers in the world. And in India, this river basin is located in the states of Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh and Punjab. A major portion of this river basin is located in Pakistan region. Only a small portion of this river basin is located in India, and that too in Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh and Punjab region. Once again, the Indus river system. This river rises in Tibet near Lake Mansarovar, and from there it flows west and it enters India in the Ladakh region of Jammu and Kashmir. In Jammu and Kashmir region, this river has four main tributaries. These tributaries are the Saskar, the Nubra, the Shyok and Hunza. And this river has five other major tributaries. These are the Chenab, the Jhelum, the Ravi, the Beas and the Satluj. This river has 2900 kilometers long, and in India this river basin is in Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab and Himachal Pradesh region. A major portion of this river basin is in Pakistan region. All these five major rivers connect with the river Indus, join with the river Indus in Mithankot, Pakistan, near Pakistan. Now let us study about Ganga river system. The headwater of river Ganga is called Bhagirathi, headwater. That means river Ganga is before the origination of Ganga. That the first portion is called headwater, and it is fed by Gangotri glacier. The headwater, that is Bhagirathi, is fed by Bhagirathi is getting water from Gangotri glacier, and Bhagirathi joins with Alakananda river at Devaprayag in Uttarakhand. Bhagirathi and Alakananda, these two rivers join together at Devaprayag in Uttarakhand. It will be like this. So one is Bhagirathi, one is Alakananda. It's both together at Devaprayag, and together it flow. Southwards, together it flow as the river Ganga. One is Bhagirathi, one is Alakananda, and Bhagirathi gets water from Gangotri glacier, like this. It will be like this. So the headwater of Ganga is called Bhagirathi, and Bhagirathi gets water from Gangotri glacier. Bhagirathi and Alakananda joins together at Devaprayag in Uttarakhand. And the major tributaries of river Ganga, that means major Himalayan tributaries, Yamuna, Gigara, Gandak and Kosi. These are the main Himalayan tributaries of river Ganga. And out of this, Yamuna originates from Yamunotri glacier, and all the other three like Gigara, Gandak and Kosi, these all other three originate in Nepal Himalayas. And the tributaries of peninsular uplands, tributaries of river Ganga in the peninsular uplands, these are Chambal, Betwa, San and Ken. These are the tributaries of peninsular uplands tributaries of Ganga from peninsular uplands. Once again, the headwater of river Ganga is called Bhagirathi, and the Bhagirathi river fed by Gangotri glacier, and Bhagirathi joins with Alakananda at Devaprayag in Uttarakhand. And the major Himalayan tributaries of Ganga, Yamuna, Gigara, Gandak and Kosi. Yamuna originates in the Yamunotri glacier, and all the other three, Gigara, Gandak and Kosi, all these three are originating in Nepal Himalayas. And this river Ganga has some tributaries from peninsular uplands. These tributaries are the Chambal, the Betwa, the San and Ken. The Ganga river flows towards east till Farakka in West Bengal. Look at this image. Look at this picture. You can see Farakka in West Bengal. When river Ganga reaches in Farakka, it splits, because Farakka is the northernmost delta of river Ganga. And at Farakka, river splits, bifurcates, which means splits into two. One portion of river Ganga flows southwards through the Ganga Brahmaputra Delta, that is flowing. Bhagirathi Hooghly, that is area is known as Bhagirathi Hooghly. This portion of the river, this river flows, Ganga river splits into two. One is known as Bhagirathi Hooghly, and that is flowing to the south through the Ganga Brahmaputra Delta. And the main stream flows further towards Bangladesh. And here the river joins with Brahmaputra. And together, Ganga and Brahmaputra together flows towards Bay of Bengal. When this Ganga Brahmaputra moves towards the Bay of Bengal, the first portion is known as Patma. You look at this image, look at this picture, you can see Patma. And last portion is known as Meghna. That is Meghna was shown in the picture. So Ganga flows towards east till Farakka in West Bengal. When a river reaches at Farakka, since it is the northernmost portion of Ganga Brahmaputra Delta, the river bifurcates here, and it splits. One portion of river Ganga flows towards south through the Ganga Brahmaputra Delta. That portion is known as Bhagirathi Hooghly portion of Ganga. And the main stream again flows further towards Bangladesh, and the main stream joins with Brahmaputra. And together Ganga Brahmaputra flows towards Bay of Bengal. The northernmost portion of Ganga Brahmaputra known as Patma, and southwards the last portion is known as Meghna. And Ganga Brahmaputra Delta also you can see here, and Ganga Brahmaputra Delta is known as Sundarban Delta. Because of the presence of Sundari tree here, Ganga Brahmaputra Delta is known as Sundarban Delta. Look at the picture, Sundarban Delta. Now let us see about the Brahmaputra river system. Brahmaputra river rises in Tibet east of Mansarovar Lake. It is slightly longer than river Indus, and this river flows parallel to the Himalayas, and on reaching Namcha Barwa mountain peak, it takes a U-turn and enter India in Arunachal Pradesh through a gorge. So on reaching Namcha Barwa mountain peak, it is in Arunachal Pradesh. On reaching Namcha Barwa mountain peak, it takes a U-turn and enters India in Arunachal Pradesh through a gorge. Here in Arunachal Pradesh, this river is called Dihang, and this Dihang river joins with two tributaries in Arunachal Pradesh. These tributaries are Dibang and Lohit. And a major portion of this river is outside of India, that is in Tibet. So when it flows through Tibetan region, the volume of water which this river carries is very less, because Tibetan region is almost throughout the year covered with ice and snow, and that's why this region, when this river is flowing through this region, the volume of water in this river is very less. But when this river flows through India, this river is flowing through the region of heavy rainfall, and because of that, the volume of water is very high in this river when it flows through India. And this river, every year, this river causes flood in Assam and creates lots of destruction for the life and property of the people. And this river frequently changes its course also, and this river creates deltas. And moreover, this river creates island, a riverine island. Majuli, the largest inhabited riverine island is in this river, Brahmaputra. This river often creates island and also often changes its courses also. So this is about river Brahmaputra or Brahmaputra river system. It rises in Tibet and flows towards east. It rises east of Mansarovar Lake and flows toward the east. and slightly longer than river Indus. And this river flows parallel to the Himalayas, and on reaching Namcha Barwa modern peak, it takes a U-turn and enter India in Arunachal Pradesh through a gorge. And in Arunachal Pradesh, this river is known as Diha, and here it joins with Dibang and Lohit tributaries. The river Brahmaputra in Tibet, it is known as Sangpo. In Tibet, river Brahmaputra known as Sangpo. And in India, when this river flows through India, it is flowing through a heavier rainfall region, and because of that, the volume of water is very high in this river. And because of that, this river creates frequent flood, and especially in Assam, and creates a lot of destruction for life and property of the people. These are the three main river systems which we have seen: the river Indus, river Ganga, and river Brahmaputra system. Just read all of you this portion thoroughly.